Okay, I'm ready for part 2 for the Gather folio. So we're going to start with constructing page number 2. And yeah, I've prepared all my pieces again. And our first piece is going to be piece G. And piece G has 2 score lines. And we're going to fold and burnish on both score lines. And again, what I did, just like with page 1, I've made that little tick mark with my pencil a 1/4 inch away from my 1/2 inch score line to the cut edge, just for a little guideline later on. So fold and burnish both, so we have this flap with a 3/8 inch gusset area. And I'm going to place it folded on my 7/8 inch score line. Then we have piece H. This is going to form a large pocket. So the tape was on 3 sides. I've mitered the corners and I've also tapered the 1/2 inch on top here for hiding construction. And you can absolutely make a little notch or something in the pocket if that's what you like. I'm not gonna do it, but yeah, like I said, it's absolutely possible. So again, fold and burnish on all 3 of your score lines. And then piece H should fit on top of piece G while it's placed like this, folded on that 7/8 inch score line, lining it up. And it should match up on all 4 sides. So take your time on placing this one down. It can be a little bit tricky. But I think I'm going to lay it flat, and then I'm going to start at my cut edge here. On that corner is where I'm going to stick it down first and then bring it along the bottom. Let's see how I like that. Okay, and do I have my tape close by? I do. So I'm going to place some tape over my 1/2 inch strip. So this will help later on to slide the piece in the pocket. And now I will stick my sides down. So I'm still guiding this a little bit because it's such a large pocket. And there we have it. Okay, let's check the back. That looks pretty good actually. Way better than my first one. Okay, then we have piece I, and piece I is a large piece. We scored it halfway, so we're going to fold it in half. And what I like to do when I fold something in half is line up my corners as best as I can, and I can already see that's not going to work out completely. And then fold back and burnish the score line. So I don't trust my score line 100% basically. And now I'm going to see how well I can slide this in my pocket. For the other one I've rounded the corners to make it a little bit easier. But that pocket was pretty crooked, and this one seems to be quite okay. So for now I'm going to leave it like this. Okay, so now I need to find my right pieces because I see the order is not right. Yep. We have pieces J and K, and they're almost the same. It's just, I believe piece K is a little bit shorter. No, piece J is a little bit shorter. Yeah, piece J is a little bit shorter. I was thinking for myself, did I do that right in the cutting guide? But I believe I did. It doesn't really matter. One is shorter than the other. And I used my corner punch from We Are Memory Keepers to cut a little angle in these. I liked how that looked, so I'm going to do that in this one as well. And it's just easier to do it before you attach it. But you can definitely do it after as well. Okay, so I'm just going to fold and burnish. So again, I've also tapered the 1/2 inch. And the shorter one will go on top of piece I. So that was piece J, right? Let's just check. Yeah, so just smart to give it a check if it fits on here nicely. If you have a little bit of overhang, you just cut it down a little bit, but mine seems to be okay. So what am I going to do? I have my folded edge of piece I here on the left hand side, and piece J is going to line up on that side. So on the folded edge, and then you also line it up, in this case from top to bottom. I don't want it there, I want it here. So I'm just lining it up as best as I can again. Hold it in place and burnish. And I think I might actually do have a little bit of overhang there, but I will correct that later. It's going to be a fuss to do it. And then piece K should fit here on top of piece H, on the bottom of the pocket, so on the bottom of the page basically. So again, yeah, I also need to cut this one down a hair, so let me do that quickly. So for me that's the case because my paper trimmer is not really measuring these measurements very well, so then I do that with my ruler, and then sometimes it's just a little bit off. But if you know that that is the case, then you can work around it. Okay, hold it in place. But that is the reason why I give a lot of my things a dry fit before I stick it. Okay, so the closure we will do later on when we are decorating. And I think, so this is going to go in here, but I think for now I'm going to leave it out for constructing the back side of the page. I think it's a little bit easier without the bulb there. So let's turn it over, and also the flap I'm going to lay it open so my page is nice and flat. So now my flaps here are on the right hand side, and we have piece L to start with. It's going to be a flap, so one score line, taper your 1/2 inch, fold and burnish, and we are going to place this one along the cut edge here on the left hand side. So again, just align it on those 3 sides. Oh, I think I'm already stuck down there. Well, luckily I'm good. So that flap is in place, and then we have 2 pieces, N and M. So not only are the letters really sounding the same, also they are almost the same in measurement. It's just that your piece M is 1/8 of an inch taller than the other one. So there is a small difference there. So you want to have the biggest piece, the 2 5/8 inch piece. Miter your corners. You have tape on 3 sides on that piece. This is going to form your normal pocket. So fold and burnish. And I'm just going to put it to the side for now, and then piece N is going to be the stack pocket. So you only have your tape on the short sides again, just like we did on page 1. We made the stack pocket. I'm cutting just above the score line up to the intersection and cut with an angle. And we do the same thing on this side. Okay, and then only fold on your side flaps. So I was thinking I'm going to do the decorating for this folio, or at least a little bit. So I will show you how to do the stack pocket with your pattern paper. So we're going to start with piece M. So our flap is here. We're going to place the pockets here by the attachment hinge of the actual page, right, by our gusset. So I'm going to turn it where that is on the bottom. It's easier for me. And piece M will just go, you're going to bump it up against your score line, but don't go over your score line. You definitely still want to see that score line, and make sure that when you close the flap, you still have a gap. So you don't have to stay away 1/8 of an inch, you just bump it up against the score line without going over it. remove those tape backings there. And stick those down, and now we can, I always give it a dry fit, I'm not able to help myself, just to see what I've got. Remove my tape backing and slide it in. And that's it. So again, you might want to have a little something here to keep that in place. No, not that. I need that. Must have a scrap piece somewhere. Here we have something. I think it's just a different black, but that's fine for now. And then we go to the front and we slide this in place. And now our page is done. See, it's really quick and simple actually, but it's, I feel that we get a really nice result in the folio. Okay, so the first page, I've placed it in the folio already. I think it's this one. And I'm not going to do that with this one, because I want to decorate it first. I think it's easier. As you see, it's quite a long piece, and when you're decorating, you slide it all over, and then with the gussets, it's kind of hard to put pressure on things. So I decided that I'm not going to place my page in the folio right now. But when we do, you're going to fold on your 1/2 inch score line, and you're going to use the pencil marks that we made earlier to line it up. So you're going to place it about 1/4 inch away from the score line of page 1. And that's why I did the pencil lines, and we're going to use the pencil lines that I have here on this piece later on to attach the waterfall element right here. But because I'm not attaching this one, I'm going to wait with making the waterfall element. We are going to make the lay flat envelope box, I'm not sure how I'm going to call it, for that left hand panel. So let's just do that first, and then yeah, we will start on some decorating on the pages as well. So I have my pieces prepared for that element on the back cover, but I'm not going to use them for now. So put them to the side. I'm going to make, and I believe it's piece R in the cutting guide, we're going to make this one together from scratch. So the only thing that I did is I've cut my piece to size, and that was 8 1/4 by 12. And I need my little note to see the score marks that we need to make. Is this it? Yeah. So I'm going to get my scoreboard. Okay, anyway, I've got it with the 8 1/4 inch side on top, and we are going to score 1 inch from both sides. So I'm going to score at the 1 inch mark. And I really need to clean my scoreboard, so I need to be a little bit careful. 1 inch mark, and at 7 1/4 to have that 1 inch from the other side. Okay, let's turn this sideways. I am going to score at 1 inch. So all the way from top to bottom at the 2 inch mark. Then at the 7 1/4 all the way, and at 8 1/4. Yep. Okay, so these are the score lines all the way. Now we're going to also make some score lines that are going to help us later on. So right like it's lying here right now, I've made my score line here at 2 inches, and 1 inch away from that I want to have another score line, but I only go up to the horizontal score line from this view. So at the 3 inch mark, I'm going to score and stop at the horizontal score line. So I have 3 1 inch boxes next to each other here. So right here, I'm going to do the same thing, but I need that. I have a little cheat sheet here. Yep, I'm doing that right. I need that. We have the 7 1/4 inch score mark here, so we're gonna go 1 inch from that to the right, so at the 6 1/4 inch mark. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to score up to my horizontal score mark. So we have two 1-inch boxes there next to each other. Now I'm going to turn it 180 degrees because I need to do the same thing on the other side, but it's a little bit confusing. But just so I could go like this, but that's dangerous in my case. So I need the score mark here 1 inch to the left hand side. So this one now falls at the 4 3/4, so I'm going to go to the 5 3/4, 1 inch to the right. And then right here I needed 1 inch to the left to match up with my score line right there. So that's at the 9-inch mark. I hope I'm not confusing you too much, but so this is what we got. Basically this is what we have. This is how it's lying in our scoreboard right now. The white lines are your score lines. The only things that we haven't done yet are our diagonal lines. So we are going to do that, but I'm going to do it just on my work surface. That's easier for me. So I'm going to get like a score tool that works a little bit easier when I do things like this, and my ruler. So just like on this sheet, you want to have the point, we're going to make like a triangle shape, right, with 45-degree angle. The point you want it to be on the horizontal score line. So from there you're going to score outwards. So I'm going to align my ruler and just make that mark. It doesn't have to be like really heavily scored. And we're gonna do that also right here. And you're gonna just forget about the outer one. You need the two that are most on the inside. So we forget about this one. We use our 2-inch score mark as the point where we start scoring, and from there we go outwards. And then we're going to do the same thing right there. Okay, so we've done that. Again, I'm going to get this one in. It's a little bit easier to show you. We're going to make some cuts. And basically what we are going to do on the side here, where you have the two 1-inch parts next to each other, we are going to cut out the outer square. That's going to go, and then the triangle that's attached to your inner part, and also to the outer square. So this whole piece we are going to cut out. We're going to do the same thing right here. So we cut out those two sections, and right here we're going to cut out this whole long section, and again that square, or sorry, the triangle that is attached to that longer section. And the same thing right there. So I hope that this with the white helps you to understand what it is that we are cutting. And of course I will show you once we've got how that looks like. And you can always pause the video if you want to on that image. So what I would like to do is pre-fold the long score lines, and I'm going to get a paper piercer. That's just something that I do. I'm going to pierce my hole here on the inside of that intersection of score lines. So let me see if I can get that in view for you, but it's that's going to be really hard to see, I guess. But on this long part, I've made a punch on the inside of the intersection because I want to cut away the score line here. I don't want that. So where's my knife? Right there. And again my ruler with a metal edge. Straight blade. I'm going to put the point of my straight blade in the hole that I've punched. Place my ruler up against the score line. And cut it. And pre-folding the score line just helps me to see that score line a little bit better and to bump my ruler up against it. So here I have to cut from cut edge to the hole that I've made. So there we have it. And then on this side, so I did this on the bumpy side, right? I folded towards the bumpy side. I turn it over to the dented side. I can see my diagonal score line, and I'm going to cut on that score line. Because I did it on my work surface, it's really easy, and of course I showed you wrong. So let's do that again. We need to cut all the way to the second score line on our large part away, right? So that one needs to go as well. So I'm just going to do it from this side, which I normally don't do, but it's just a short part. Okay, so there we have it. So once we've cut on that one up to the second score line, you turn it over to the dented side, cut on the diagonal, and that's on the dented side for me better to see, so I cut it out. And then that's what it looks like. So here I'm going to do the same thing. I am going to make my punch on the intersection by the second score line. And this one is a little bit shorter. You can easily do this with your scissors as well, right? But I like to use my knife. So I cut. And I cut. Turn it over to the dented side so I can easily see my diagonal score line. That just formed a guide for me there. And cut off that section. And then this is what our piece is looking like. So we can throw that away. So now we can really fold on our score lines. So you don't fold on any score lines right here yet, just leave them alone. But on all the other ones we can fold and burnish. So I'm just folding it. And then on both of these I'm going to fold on the second one towards the bumpy side, burnish that fold. And on the second one I am going to fold towards the bumpy side, burnish it with my fingers. And then pull back towards the dented side and then burnish the folds. And I also use a corner rounder on this one and I like that, so I'm going to do it again. Or you can use any other corner punch that you want or just leave it straight, that's all good. So on these ones I'm going to do the same thing. On the second one I'm going to fold. Sorry, I need to get rid of the sun. Okay, I hope that's better. So on the second one I'm going to fold and burnish towards the bumpy side. And then on the second one, fold towards, oh sorry, I'm so confusing, I'm so sorry. So on the second one I fold and burnish towards the bumpy side, and then on the first score line I fold towards the bump, burnish it with my fingers and then pull back. Because we want to train that in the other direction. So we have this. Okay, so this is going to be the inside of our box. Because it's really easy to do it now, I'm going to turn it over. And this is going to form the bottom of the box. And I'm going to place my double-sided tape on there right now for attaching it in the album later on. It's just easier to do it now. So I'm just going to stay in between my score lines with my tape. I hope it's not too dark now, but the sun was a pretty unexpected visitor there. Okay, so I just went on the inside of the score lines, filled it in a little bit, give that a burnish, and then we have that prepared for later on. Okay, so we won't forget. Okay, so for these flaps, what are we gonna do? I'm going to fold this one in. We are not sticking anything down as of yet. Fold it in, Then we get our flap here. We have the diagonal score line there, so we're going to use that to fold it back. And basically what you want is this score line that we have here in the middle of the triangle. You want to line that up with the folded edge when this flap is folded in, and you fold this one down. You will see that that score line is visible there, and you want to just push it where you line up that score line as best as you can. It doesn't always work out perfectly with the folded edge, so you might don't go all the way on the score line that you made on the diagonal, but I'm not sure how well I can get that in view, but I tried my best to line up that score line with the folded edge. And then we can fold on that one in again. So I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to pull back on the diagonal score line, but I have my eye on the score line that I will see there. That's lined up as best as I can with the edge. Give that a burnish and then fold back the other one. Give that a burnish. So let's do the same thing on the other side. This one was pretty good actually. Most of mine are a little bit crooked and I have to work them somewhat, but that one was pretty good. So again here, no, you just push on it until you get it the way you want it. And then fold that one in. Okay, so now we are looking at the outside of these triangles. That's what we will be sticking down later on. Not yet, but just to make it clear for myself, I'm going to put a little bit of double-sided tape on there. I'm going to use that anyway later when I stick them down. But then I also know that that's the part that I'm going to stick down. You can also just do this with wet glue, but it's you have to have a little bit more patience if you only use wet glue to make sure everything dries. Okay, again here I will be using a corner rounder, and now I'm going to get my paper collection and I'm going to choose a paper to use on this, because before we can construct it completely, I advise you to first put your pattern paper on. Okay, so I got the collection. I'm working with, as you already know, the Gather at Home by Carta Bella. Very nice paper collection. So I had two of these, but one is more than enough to make this folio. My goal is actually to make 3 of these folios with 2 paper collections, and I already also had the solids, right? So I hope that's going to work out. But what am I going to do is I'm going to go through this collection and find a paper that I want to use on this. And if you have a paper that has like a really nice front, for example this one, and a nice but more calmer back, like this one, that will work really great, and it works together. So you will use this one sheet to decorate this whole thing, and then probably you will be also out of that sheet, but that can work. So this is a really good option, and I was thinking about this one. So I'm not going to use the one with the journal cards. This is a really good option because this has the mugs and the what is it, gingham at the back, plate. It says here it's a plate. I never know what it's called when you call it that. This is also a good option. To be honest, I don't really understand the alarm clocks. I don't know why. So this is the one that I've used in the other one. So you have some flower patterns and then a polka dot on the back. But I was not really in love with the green. Another good option would be, but then I need to use 2 sheets, is the back of this one with this flower pattern and the back of this one. Nah, it's just a little bit too much. So you know what I think I'm gonna do? I am going to use this one again, but I think, or maybe I can do the mugs. See this green? I don't know. It wasn't really doing it for me. But if I put the pattern with the flowers on top, and then the green polka dot there and the green polka dot there, it's not so in my face, and maybe it will work better. So I'm going to change that up on how I've placed that. Yeah. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. So this one it is. And then I will probably use, yeah. Okay, everything else can go to the side. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it to 12 in height and then cut it in half to 6 inches. So I have two parts, 6 by 12. Okay, so I've done that. So really quickly I can cut my piece here for the bottom. I just put my ruler there. So this should be 5 1/4. So I'm going to cut it to 5. I'm just gonna work with a 1/8 inch border here, because in that way I could cut this to 6. So let's just keep it even. I'm going to cut it to 5. Okay, and then I want to have the back of this, the green polka dot, on the sides, flaps. So I am going to, these are 1 inch. And I'm just laying it flat for now. I'm going to cut my strips to just under 7/8 of an inch, because I think 3/4 of an inch it's just gonna look a little bit weird, but 7/8 of an inch is going to be a little bit tight. So I'm going to cut it just 1 tick mark under the 7/8 of an inch. I'm gonna cut strips. So I'm gonna cut 4. Yep. Okay, this is a good start. So 2 of them will be placed here, but we cannot stick them down yet. We're gonna wait with that until the very last end. These need to be cut down to 5. Okay, so I got that. So let's make some space. So I'm going to place these to the side. These are for later. So these strips are going to be for here. I'm going to get a pencil, because we have our fold lines here of the triangles. So I'm going to place my strip on here where I even out the space, and make sure that your point on the inside is on the inside of the diagonal score line of your fold line there. So on both sides, and then I'm going to mark a little bit on the inside of the diagonal score line here. So just a little bit on the inside of that. And then I will get my scissors, put my scissors at that pencil mark, and then cut up to the point of the strip. And here, I need to do that in the other way. I start at the point and I cut up to the pencil mark. So with a little risk of error, I cut it. And then this piece should fit in between those score lines right here. And this technique, it's not going to give you 100% perfect result, but for me it's good enough. So this piece is done, and I'm going to, if that's something that you prefer, I'm going to ink the edges. I'm using black soot to blend it in with the background. And glue. I like to use art glitter glue for decorating. And of course it's not. So if you don't fit in between the score lines, it's important that you trim it down a little bit more. When you stick this on top of a score line, it's not going to function as well as you want to. So also with gluing it down, we have some wiggle time, but art glitter glue dries pretty quick. So I am going to be a little bit careful. I finally got somewhat smart and tried to use something else than my finger for wiping away the excess glue. Okay, so that is in place. And then our triangles that we cut off, you might give them a dry fit. Maybe they fit on here, and like I said, it's not going to be 100% perfect, so your edge might not be lined up completely. But this one fits, so I'm going to glue it down. If it doesn't fit, I suggest to cut it down on the diagonal line to make it fit. And these little pieces, I find them a little bit tricky to work with, but there we go. And then we'll do the same thing here. So first I check, does it fit in between the score lines? So maybe this one is a little bit on the larger side. So like I said, I will cut it down on the diagonal. And not much, I just trim off the thin hair. And that's a little bit better for me. So I will be repeating this on this side, and then I will cut my pieces for the outside as well. Just prepare the outside as well. Okay, so I have these on the inside done. And from that first half sheet we've cut the strips. So I've cut this piece, then I've cut 4 strips just under 7/8 of an inch, and then this is the piece that I have left. And that basically fits perfect either here on the inside or here on the outside. Doesn't really matter, right? So I'm thinking I'm just going to place it here on the inside, and I will be doing that with the polka dot side facing up. So this really has to wait until the last moment. Also, if you want to use a frame turner or a swing tab, something to, like I did in the other one, your braids are going to grow through this bottom inch part. Let's have that in frame. So these are the last things that we are going to do. So I'm going to turn it around now to the outside. We don't need pattern paper here where we place the tape, only right there, and keep your orientation in mind. I'm going to start with cutting 2 strips for the sides. So again, just under 7/8 of an inch. So let's, I'm going to start with that. Okay, so again I've cut that down to 5 inches, and keep the orientation in mind. We're gonna do the same thing here. So now, yeah, so just keep the diagonal score line in mind, mark it just on the inside, and let's cut. Okay, I'm going to take this extra vest out because I'm getting hot. You see, I'm also wearing a sweater. I'm always cold. But now I'm getting hot because the sun is shining on the window and it's warming up this place. Okay, just again make sure that you don't go over your score lines. Make sure that everything can fold properly. And then I will do, I'm just going to cut them down here on the diagonal line. And I am working on the recipe album. It's really getting shape now. And I did this for this album, and then I thought, wouldn't this be really nice to have that in the recipe album as well? Only, of course, in a larger size. And maybe lift it up a little bit with some acetate features or something. So I'm thinking I'm going to try to figure out how we can make a larger version of this, but then it will probably be made out of several pieces of cardstock instead of out of one piece, to have nice storage for recipes or things you ripped out of a magazine or something. I didn't cut it down, did I? I'm gonna cut it down a hair. Just feels that the fit is slightly better if you just cut off that hair on the diagonal. So just able to line it up a little bit better. Oh, I don't want that. All these fibers. Okay, so now I need to repeat that. Right here. Okay, so now I have these pieces in place and I need to cut, let's see, 1, 2, 3 more, 4 more strips that are just under that 7/8 of an inch. So I'm going to cut them and we can determine after cutting how we are going to use them. Okay, so I have those 4, and for here I need, so I measure up to the score line. This is 3 3/4, so 3.5. That's this piece, and then this is everything that is left from that 112 by 12 sheet. Okay, so let's round the corners for this one. So this is what I will have, and then I was thinking of doing the, so this will be folded in, right? Just trying to get it in place. So like this. Then I was thinking of doing the polka dot showing right there. Right there. Okay. So let's do that. Okay, then I think I like it if we just do the flower pattern right here and also here. I'm just gonna do it. We'll see. So round the corners. Sorry for the background noise. Not sure what they are doing. Okay, and then we will have our polka dot right here, right? But we cannot attach them yet. So let's see about how we want to keep this thing closed. So in the other one, I've used frame turners. But I do understand not everybody has frame turners. If you have them, you can use them. They worked perfect. But we can also make swing tabs in other ways. So for example, if you have like a nested circle die, you can take 2 that are close together, and then I would do a black background and then one with pattern paper a little bit smaller. Make 2 of those, stick them on top of each other, and then, yeah, I think I would do 2. And then place your circle somewhere here where you still have room for a brad, and then you can turn that one down to open it up, so you can do that. That's an option. I'm also going to look at the sticker sheet. Yep, because on the sticker sheet, for example, we also have these things. And here we have some more. These are also pretty good options for a swing tab, for example. But I probably want to do 2, and I don't have 2 that are exactly the same, of course. So that's annoying. That's annoying. Because I'm afraid if I do 1, it might not hold. So I'm sorry, but I am going to use my frame turners. You really need to place them low, and then I'm afraid that they might even be too low to really keep it closed nice. I'm not sure. Yeah, that will be fine. So let's give that another try. There we go. Okay. So after a whole lot of trouble, these swing tabs are in. So you can do it with a circle, but maybe you need a little bit of a bigger circle than a 3/4 inch and you really need to place them low. I'm going to put some tape right here over those legs of the bread to hold, can this still turn nicely? Yeah. To hold those bread legs in place and to protect my pattern paper from it. Okay, so now we can finally assemble this completely. So we are going to fold in our triangles. I'm going to start at the bottom. I'm going to remove this little tape backing that I've placed earlier on both sides. And I'm going to combine it with some wet glue. So I'm going to place some wet glue here. I think I want to remove this tape backing, but be careful. I think there as well. I think that my triangle will go a little bit over it, but I'm not sure. Too much glue there, but okay. So I'm going to hold this in place, push it flat, and then fold your bottom piece over. Get rid of excess glue and try to make sure that this is not sticking out here. And now I'm going to give it a good burnish, give it time to dry. Some more glue is coming out with that. And then still just leaving it for now, let it dry. I'm gonna go and do the same thing right here. Combine it with some wet glue. Hold it flat and push the top flap over. So I have glue everywhere on my fingers now. Give it a burnish. And just don't play with it too much for now. Just let it dry. Maybe put something on top of it. Hold it down a little bit. Art glitter glue dries quick, but still. So in the meantime, I can ink up my last two strips. So now carefully we can open this up. Oh, hopefully I didn't stuck anything down that I didn't want to stuck. Oh, of course, my tape backing. Oh, I got away very good here. So don't remove that tape backing. Really, it's obviously I should not be doing this right now, but luckily nothing got broken. Now that we have opened this, we can place our last two strips right there. You must have all been watching me doing this and like, you're sticking the tape down. You don't want to be doing that. And I don't want to have to do this all over again. Okay, so I'm just going to stand it up. And just place that last strip there. And with this we hide all the construction and everything. Oh, here it is under my stuff. I don't know why my phone is there, but it's there. So those breads make it a little bit difficult to with those small strips of pattern paper, and that's why I didn't do a magnet, because I'm afraid that I'm not being able to hide the magnet very well under these strips. Okay, that's one, and the last one, and then this is completed in the base. We can embellish the outside a little bit more, but I think I will do that later. Once I have a better idea of what it is that I want to do there. Okay, so everything is in place. This is all set to go in the cover. So fold it close. See, there is just not a lot of room there, right? It makes it a little bit difficult. Okay, get our album in. So we can leave all of that there because we're gonna go all the way to the left panel. And I didn't do any pattern paper here because basically this piece will cover all of that up. And it's just a waste of the black cardstock. So just giving it a dry fit like I always do. I have my tape backing here prepared already. We're gonna remove it, combine it with some wet glue, and when we stick this down, we have about a 1/8 inch border on all 4 sides. So for some wiggle time, some wet glue, and then I fill that in a little bit. Okay. So I have the paper here that I use as a guideline from top to bottom. I go about 1/8 inch away from my gusset area, and that should give me about a 1/8 inch here, maybe a little bit more, but I rather have more than less. Okay, so once I have it in place, I'm going to open it up and burnish here at the bottom. Okay, so that is in place, all set. Nice. See, this intends to go up a little bit, that's fine. So once I was trying to show you that we have it all decorated, the outside, the back, everything is covered in some pattern paper. So the only thing that we can do if you want to is embellish this a little bit more, but like I said, I'm going to do it later. First, let's see what we're going to do here with our pattern paper. But I think we will do that in a new video for 2 reasons. I'm all over the place, and for the other reason I think the video is long enough like this. But in the new video we will be working on some decorating of the pages so we can place them in the album and finish off our final element there. So yeah, this is it for now. Thank you for watching. I hope you were able to follow along, and see you in the next one. Bye bye.